Guys, it's Blakey for Shaman's Forge. Okay, now we're going to discuss sewing up our haversack. What we've done is we've created our pattern, we've cut it out, we've measured it out like we wanted, trimmed it up, and now we're actually going to sew. How we sew it. I told you to get big eye embroidery needles and upholstery thread. But since it's kind of hard to see the actual stitches from where you are, I'm going to do a quick demonstration about how the sewing is going to take place. Now, imagining that this paracord is a needle and thread and that my hand is the actual material. There is sewing where you do what's called a running stitch, and that's where you go through, pull it from the other side, stick it back through the material, pull it tight on that side, stick it back through again and pull it tight. In this in and out running stitch is what a lot of people use to sew. The advantage to this is it's very quick. The disadvantage to this is, like with this Condura nylon, this edge will unravel. So if I pull one of these thread fibers, they just pull off. So I need to some way bind that edge so it doesn't unravel, because if I just did a running stitch like this along that edge, in time that edge will ravel and it will fall apart. So I need to do a different type of stitch. And for that I'm going to do what's called a whip stitch. Now a whip stitch is you're going to take the needle, you're going to push it into the material, pull it off the far side, bring it back over, and stick it back in. Hello, I'm Mario. Scoot, 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 we're busy. You're going to pull it through again, bring it back over, stick it back through, and you see you get this spiral wrap up. You always stick it through this side, pull it out that side, pull it tight, and stick it back through again. By doing this, I'm creating a rolled edge, and this will bind this edge along it so I don't lose. If a thread starts to fray, it goes to the next stitch and stops rather than running, and I lose my material. I've already sewed everything on here except this part I'm about to demonstrate to you, just to get ahead of the situation. Now we've measured it up, trimmed up the edge, and I've been using masking tape to hold the piece in the relative position. This is going to be the main body, this is going to be the flap. Now here along this edge, I'm utilizing a seam that was already existing on the bag as where my hand goes in, seam. That way it'll be tough and it will not fray or wear there. On this other end of the flap, I've whip stitched the entire thing. Now I'm going to be turning this inside out, so my stitches along this edge are going to be on the inside. This stitches, I folded that edge to this side so that when I turn it around it'll be a smooth edge. Okay, now we're going to start. I'm going to take my needle, which has a doubled piece of upholstery thread in it, and that's simply meaning that it's a long piece that I've doubled in half and tied a big knot on one end. I'm going to come up here, I'm going to pinch the material, excuse me, and I'm going to start, but I'm not going to start at the very edge. I'm going to back up about a ½ inch. And at that point, I'm simply going to, remember that running stitch? I'm going to use a running stitch. Pull it tight, come from the back side of the material back to this side, staying about an 1/8 inch in from the actual edge. And I'm going to use the running stitch. But Blackie, I know, but what I'm doing is I'm anchoring the material, and I'm about to use the whip, but I'm making sure that this edge, which is going to take a lot of wear and tear from you going in and out, does not pull apart. So I'm anchoring it tightly with the running stitch, and then I'm going to use the whip stitch to finish the seam. Notice I'm going back toward the beginning. And when I get up here to the actual beginning, and this is kind of tough right here because this is about 4 layers thick to go through. If you get a loop like this, it means that your threads have got uneven, and just grab and tug the one that was not. Pull your needle up and make sure that the thread is nice and tight. Now I'm going to begin to whip. So I'm going to pull my material tight. I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to pull it out of the way, and I'm going to go through. Just like that. Get up there, I'm going to pull it tight. I'm going to pull it back to my side. Take my thumb, hold it in place. Go through. Pull it back to my side. Hold it down with my thumb. Go through. Just like that. A nice, even rhythm. Staying the same relative position. Distance from the edge, and making my space, how wide apart are my stitches? About 1/8 of an inch. Now I'm pinching the material as I go. That's the reason I grab that thread and hold it down in position so it doesn't bind me up. I don't make a knot when I come to the other side. Also, ever so often when you get 8 or 10 like that, grab the material and give it a little tug, and then pull your stitches nice and tight. That way if you missed a little, sometimes I'll do like this and grab individual threads of the two. See, like that, and had a loop further back up. I'll pull it out. Making sure this is staying nice and flat and your material isn't puckering. Pull it over, hook it with my thumb, stick it. Now that is the basis of the sewing we're doing. This is creating a rolled edge so that the material will not unfray, it will not fray, and it gives a sort of a rigid feel to it to help support the edge a little bit so that it can take a little bit more wear and tear than just a flat seam would. And as you can see, it doesn't take long. And you can lace up boots, you can sew. You just got to practice it, that's all. And like that, say I have a little tab left, one of my threads got hung up or something. I just individually pull my threads, work it out. Now, I'm going to skip ahead into where all this is done, and then I'll show you how we're going to finish up this end. Okay, now my thread is getting short. I don't have enough to do all of it. I need to put in a new piece of thread. How do I tie it off and put in a new piece of thread? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my finger and pull that out of the way, and I'm going to back up instead of going forward. I'm going to back up over the stitch I just put, and I'm going to pull it tight. I'm going to do 2 of those. Then on this one, I'm going to go forward and I'm going to put a stitch in. Holding my threads, I will now go through my threads, pull that down to make a cinch. I will poke through again going through my threads, pull it to make a cinch, and the 3rd time. So I'm doing 3 cinch passes. That won't unravel. Now I can cut it off and start a new thread. Be right back.